Okay, welcome back to part 2 of painting an ultramarine tutorial, and we are going to start with the black grey from Vallejo, and we're going to be just touching up the backs of his legs once again, and we're going to be also painting the casings on the bolter guns. Okay, next is Wild Rider Red, and we are going to be putting a highlight in the bottom of the eye lens, just like that. Okay, Adolf Guard Blue is next, and we are going to fill it down with Lemon Medium. And we're just going over the main sort of plated areas and sort of larger areas where the blue is, and we're going to paint it on, but not quite to the edge. So there's still a bit of the McCraggy blue or McCrag blue left showing underneath. So we're going to do this on all the plated areas, as you can see there. The head, the backpack, the shoulder pads are especially important because they're one of the most eye-catching features. Ones that you see on top, the light catches the shoulder pads and the helmet more than any other part really. You'll find that the pose of the particular model, whatever it is you're using, makes a massive difference to the ease of which you can paint it. I prefer to paint my models fully assembled, or as much as I can anyway. As you can see, this one is a very easy pose to paint because you have access to all the areas, so why not, right? I particularly like this stage as it really starts to come together now and looks really good. It really starts pulling out the I don't know, the essence of whatever the character is you're painting. Really, I mean they're all characters, even Ultramarines. It's quite a long stage of painting this, I guess, but very rewarding. Fugan Orange is next, and we're going to be putting that on straight from the pot onto the eagle on the breastplate. Just gonna pop that on there, nice and easy. Calgar Blue and Lemay Medium is also up next. We're going to just highlight the edges on certain areas of the model here. So, like I say, once again, it's thinned down with Lemay Medium, and this is the highlight that's going to just make the edges of things pop out. As you can see there. The trick I find with doing line edging is try not to do too long of a line at once. Do it in little dashes along the edge of whatever it is you're trying to highlight. Just do little bits. That was a big mistake when I first started doing this, trying to do the whole line in one stroke, and then going all wonky and messing up the model. Not good. So that's just what I've learnt. Do it little dashes, little bits, like dots and dashes. You know, I know what I mean. Big face mask there. All these little areas, it all makes a huge difference. You're trying to take it up a notch from a normal tabletop standard to like a good tabletop standard. as you can probably tell, this is the longest stage of this process. The line, edge line, highlighting took the longest time on this model than any other stage, but it is well worth it. Taking your time, getting these highlights on, definitely worth it. Gilliman Blue is up next, and this is where we bring all the blues together with our glaze. Now, it's a glaze, and the thing with these glazes from Citadel is do not treat them like they're shade washes. I've learnt that as well. They behave very, very differently. So be very, very mindful of where and how you apply them. Because they will literally dry where they stand, as it were, whereas the shade washes will pool up into the recesses and create the shadows and so forth. You have to apply your glaze with care so that it only covers the colours that you want it to. In this instance, we are just trying to bring all the blues back together so there's not such a stark contrast between them, so they look a little bit more natural. And it always looks different when you put it on wet, and when it dries, it really brings it all together very nicely. I do like these Citadel glazes; they're awesome. Of course, after the highlighting, we need to tidy up the black-grey area again behind the leg there. I prefer using black-grey, it's a bit more realistic than plain black, I find. Oh, and that little bit that sticks out there on the bottom of his, back of his leg there. I decided to do that black-grey as well. Now we've done that, we are going to highlight with a bit of dry brushing all the black-grey areas. As you can see here, going over the bolter pistol, and it really brings out the detail. It's really good. It's great for highlighting black, grey, or even black, or even anything really. It's a good highlight in general. Longbeard Grey by Citadel. I love it. One of my favourite dry brush paints. Dry paints. You see, it's just bringing that to life there. We go around the bolters and the backs of the legs quickly, and the little bit on the edge on the bottom there. We'll be doing that as well. It really shows up some detail there. It's a great dry brush and a great way of doing it. As you can see, you can use it on almost anywhere really as a highlighting technique and colour. Brilliant. Okay, Rune Fang Steel. Now we are going to highlight the metal areas, particularly the bottom of the bolter gun. Rune Fang Steel always highlights beautifully over lead belcher, particularly after it's had the Nuln Oil wash, so that's going to really bring out those details for us as well here. Gives it a nice realistic metal appearance. Tops of the barrels there as well, very nice indeed. As you can see it going on there, look, really draws the attention of the eye there. When you've done that, you just want to apply a very tiny bit across the top of the eagle there, and particularly across the top there, where the light would catch the top of it, ever so slightly, about halfway along each sort of feather of that detail, where the line splays out just about halfway along, and then out to the edge. A couple bits there at the bottom. Alright, Gunner's Gold. Now, Gunner's Gold, we are going to go along the gold trim of the shoulder pads there, halfway, to cut the trim bottom in half and just do it along the bottom of it. Just the bottom half of the gold there. To bring out that gold a bit more, so it's not quite so dull. Make it a bit more eye-catching again. Say the word eye-catching, that's what all these techniques are about here, isn't it? Trying to make it more eye-catching. But yeah, just work your way around the Gunner's Gold. It's along the bottom half of the trim bottom there. So you don't need to go right underneath where the backpack is. Really no point there. Just the areas that you have access to. You'll have already done it with the previous gold anyway, and you want the shadow to take effect there. On the little skull motif on the back of the backpack, it's a good chance to do that. Okay, Kindle Flame is next. Now, it's a dry paint, but I've turned it into an edge paint by really filling it down and mashing it up. I'll show you in another tutorial how I do that. Basically, out of the dry paint, I've created a small edge highlight, which I'm going to pop over the wax part of the purity seals. The only reason I did it with that was because I didn't have any other colour similar to it, which I would have used. You know, I didn't have any other on hand. I suppose I could have used a light flesh colour for this, but well, Kindle Flame is the one I went with. Yeah. As you can see, it's a very small stage. Okay, once that was done, it was time for a white scar. This is where I'm putting a small tiny dot, or my attempt at putting a small tiny dot in the corner of the eye lens on the top, on the darker section. I'm not very good at eyes anyway, so I found this the hardest part. Definitely the hardest part for me. I definitely need more practice with eyes, definitely, but I think it came out okay. Auric Armor Gold, is that how you say it? Auric Armor Gold. Anyway, now this is I believe it's the final gold highlighting, where we're just going along a little bit of the edging. So with the previous one we went halfway up, now we're just doing the very edge, and this very small section of it. Sorry for going off camera there. I'm getting better at that though. So just putting it on really the sections where, and the sections where the light catches. So the edges and the sections where the light catches. So not much at all really. I think in this instance, this is an instance where less is more. So yeah. Okay, now it's time to do the barrels. I'm using black. Ordinarily, I drill out a lot of my gun barrels, but I decided to paint the hollow of the barrel in these because they're small, and I'm fine when it comes to larger guns. But on the smaller ones like this, I tend to just paint the hollow in them now. I think they look fine. I like that. Okay, now we're on to the basing. Sterling mud is what we're going to use for this. And the Citadel texture paints, these are brilliant because I'm quite a lazy baser really. You just whack them on, just be careful not to get it all over the bottoms of the feet. It's got all the sandy, grainy texture in it already. You can get them in many different colours. I went with Sterling Mud, and yeah, so just pop this on and wait for it to dry. While we're waiting for that to dry, I went in with the bloodletter glaze, the purity seals to tie the reds up, bring them all down, kind of like we did with the Gilliman blue, but obviously for the reds now. Bloodletter glaze is awesome for that task. Now it's the turn of Agrax Earthshade that we want to pop onto the dried Sterling Mud. Make sure it's thoroughly dry before you do this. Just put your Agrax Earthshade on top of there, like so. Now we need to wait for that to dry thoroughly. Terminata Stone is the dry paint we're going to use to dry brush this. This really brings the base out then, all the details that you want. And you see the benefit of the texture paint there. So you just painted it on, so it cuts down a bit of time with glue and sand and so on. And then painting it on top of that, just cut out a couple of stages. So yeah. Terminata Stone. It's kind of it's quite complementary to Sterling Mud. So there we are. When that's all dry, I'm going to colour the rim of the base with XV88, which is what I do most of my models in. I don't do all of them in it, but it's just one I've kind of gotten used to, I guess. I like to keep my armies uniform. So yeah, XV88 on the base. So there you have it. That's part 2 of the Ultramarine. Of course, you can take it further than this. It's ready for decals now, or hand painting your motifs on, or whatever you want. But there he is. I'm pretty chuffed with him at that stage. In the future, I probably will go further. I'm going to do other tutorials as well, but yeah, I'm happy with this Ultramarine. I think he looks cool, and he's going to be going on the battle top soon. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Remember, until then, all brushes lead to war.